because we get to the bottom, and this is where Tony takes over. But I would say once again, thank you all very much for coming, and look at that picture. They didn't scrub up bad, did they, the pair of them? Right, Tony.
Thank you, Les. As he said, he got to the top, started looking down at the steps, and there's all of us looking expectantly up at them. He walked down with Jodie and Laura, and the ceremony began. Laura and Jodie looking absolutely beautiful. I agree entirely with goes there. I know it's expected of me to say that, but they really did look amazing. The ceremony began to the beautiful ocean backdrop. We got to the important part, which was giving of the ring. I've been practicing this for quite a few days by this point, and I had Laura a little bit worried because I'd suggested that maybe I was going to exaggerate a little bit. I didn't want to just hand over the ring, I wanted to actually do a little twirl, do a little dance, something like that. In the end, of course, I actually just gave it to her, but the sheer look on Laura's face, as you can see, was just worried at what I was going to do. That was enough for her. Fortunately, they both said I do. And they then had to make it legal, so they signed some very Greek documents, not a single letter of English on it, so I now think they've both got timeshares in Kalamata.
They bought the beach for it.
We'll go next year, it'll be great. So, really beautiful ceremony. With it all over, we all had another drink. You might sense a theme to the wedding. We all had another drink. Gary and Laura went off to take some photographs. You can see them, that's going back across the bridge to the island, to the mainland from the island. We then got to the reception venue, a beautiful beachfront restaurant, and Gary and Laura walked up the beach to join us to be greeted by cake. Very nice Greek cake. I like cake, I don't know if I've mentioned this before to anyone. Beautiful Greek style cake. I don't know if you notice, they've barely been married an hour and Gary's not even looking at the cake. I had that photo in there for quite a few days and I never noticed myself. So, obviously a few speeches. Gary, Les and I followed a really lovely traditional Greek dinner, and we went on to the first dance. You can see a photograph there. I won't give away what the song was because they're going to recreate the first dance for you in a minute. Now, I'm up here with a PowerPoint presentation, and so I thought I'd use this opportunity, as many people in the room don't really know Gary that well, and so I thought I'd want to show you how suited he is for Laura. And I thought, well, how am I going to do that? Well, I considered, what would a woman like in her husband? And I thought I'd show you how Gary ticks all those boxes. First up, someone who's good looking, has a really great sense of fashion. Gary obviously looked good on the wedding day, even though he didn't copy my outfit. But I think the next slide really is proof. For those of you that know Gary, that is his real shoe size. Someone who's safety conscious. Okay, might not seem an obvious one. Important for when the kids come along maybe. Someone who's always aware of danger. Someone with a keen eye on health and safety. Now, in case you can't tell what this is, there's Gary holding a can of fuel, pouring it into an orange juice container, while our cousin holds a melon full of lighter fluid, smoking a cigarette. I'd like to point out how safe he is. He's holding it away from his t-shirt so he doesn't drop any on his t-shirt or his shoes. Always thinking of safety there, guys. This is a GoPed. One of the most overriding memories I have of my brother is him, 20 miles an hour, in France, in the pitch black, with no brakes, on one of these things. A car pulled out in front of him, obviously no brakes, so he couldn't stop. So, to protect the rucksack full of beer that he had, he thought it'd be a great idea to just put his legs either side of the GoPed and run along the road at 20 miles an hour. With the back wheel trying to smack him in the head. that really is one of the most overriding memories I have with my brother. Someone who's handy around the house. Someone who's not scared to fix something, always happy to lend a hand. Oh. There he is, that's a Meccano motorbike. Gary's always happy to fix anything. Normally on cars, it's fixing anything with speaker wire. He will happily tell you the story of fixing a car of mine 20 minutes before an MOT, and it passed, all with speaker wire. One of Gary's favourite sayings, well, it's better than it was. Laura's looking for someone who's interesting, engaging, really good to talk to, someone who can hold a conversation well, and, for example, I don't know, not fall asleep. Oh, sorry, guys. Oh, sorry, guys. Oh, sorry, guys. You notice where a lot of these photographs are taken, it's all around the same place, isn't it? Some healthy, clean living. Can you guess what's coming up? There we go, look at that. That bottom left, Tesco Value Lager. All 2% of it. Now, if you do ever get invited to a barbecue at Gary's house, do be aware he's always likely to come running around with strange tasting shots that he's going to make you do. Probably even will tonight. And don't ever race him at downing a bottle of Smirnoff Ice. He's too quick, and so he will do it tonight. Now, healthy and clean living?
I'll beat you with that.
That is Gary having fallen asleep on his own toilet. Yeah, this is down, obviously, yeah. Now, obviously, what Laura's also looking for is a great bloke, and she really does have that in my brother. I do love my brother to bits. A bit more of an R. Thanks. Yeah, that's me and Gaz, and I'm really happy that he's met someone as wonderful as Laura. And I wanted to try and show how happy Laura has made Gary. And so it's a PowerPoint presentation, and I thought what every PowerPoint presentation needs is a graph. Gary's graph of happiness. Now, those little blips you can see along the bottom there, they're Le Mans. That's the 24-hour motor race in France that we go to each year, where he fills microwaves full of expanding foam, drives go-peds with rucksacks of beer on his back. And those are those little blips. And then he met Laura. And obviously, he's now the happiest guy I know, so I really do thank Laura for that.
Viagra is a great thing.
They really are perfect for one another. And so with that, I'd like you all to stand, please. You now get to drink your cocktails. I'd like you all to raise your glasses, please, in a toast to the new Mr. and Mrs. Hetherington, to Gary and Laura.